Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. Tarek El-Guindy with the Mr. Olympia. Today, we have the Detroit Pro winner, Martin Fitzwater, a.k.a. the Martian. This man had a plan in 2022. He told everybody, I'm going to take a year off. I'm going to come back in 2024, win a pro show, go to the Mr. Olympia, and annihilate Derek Lunsford. So congratulations on that. Martin, how are you?
I'm incredible, man. On top of the world. Couldn't be better, honestly. Just came off, the best weekend of my life so far. And it was just everything lined up for the perfect home run for us, So it was an awesome weekend.
Congratulations. Also with me, he is the 2000 Mr. USA's. He is the master of ceremony for the Mr. Olympia, for the Arnold Classic. He is the voice of bodybuilding, one of the most self-indulgent, arrogant men in bodybuilding, Bob Cicherillo.
Well, that's a hell of an intro right there. I appreciate that, bro, I think. But, Martin, congratulations, and I will be announcing your name, my friend, on the Olympia stage.
Well, Bob, we're paying you a lot of money, okay? Can you give a little bit of what's going to transpire to get this man's blood flowing as he goes to the gym to train legs tonight?
Listen, he does. The last thing Martin needs right now is somebody prodding him or incentive. Okay, he just won his first pro show, qualified for his first Olympia, and smartly did it early in the year. We're only in April, May, June, July, August, September. You got almost 6 months of training and prep and all that stuff. So Martin's hitting his full stride, man. Like I said, this was a smart play taking the year off and making it work for you. And he was rewarded with a first place finish. But the last thing he needs right now is incentive. Trust me, brother.
Bob, I just want to hear his name coming out of your mouth as he walks into the Olympic. Can we get a little preview?
Oh, yeah, we can. Where are you from, Martin? Wyoming or something?
Yep. Middle of nowhere, Wyoming is probably how you say.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, competitor number 16, Martin the Martian Fitzwater.
Well, that was good, Bob. That was good.
Not bad. What do you think, Martin? What do you think when you hear something like that?
Yeah, it gets the hair on the back of my neck standing up a little bit. Gets me fired up for sure. I've been there a lot of times, man. I've watched a million of them on YouTube, and it's my favorite thing on the planet. I've loved this sport since I was a little kid, so I can't wait to hear my name on that big stage for sure.
Great. Let me introduce the other legend himself. He's the 1987 national champion. He's an Arnold champion. He's an Ironman champion. One of the most polarizing figures in bodybuilding. 1994 runner-up, arguably Mr. Olympia. Many people would say he's Mr. Olympia on that year. Dorian Yates disagrees with me. Sean Ray, how are you, Sean?
All right. Hey, Martin, congratulations. I don't even think you were born in 1987. Were you?
I wasn't, man. I was born in 97.
Yeah, like Bob always says, I got tennis shoes older than you.
This is true.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it very much.
You look good. I was actually pleasantly surprised. Very complete look. And you held your composure. As a matter of fact, you look better at the finals than you did pre-judging. And very, very nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And what's going on with your shirt here? We got people, your fans is this your sponsor?
Yeah, Mint 45. So that's the Kratom sponsor. They also are the ones that are working with Uprising to help sponsor the open shows and get us more money, us open guys more money. And they've just been incredible, man. They take very good care of me, and they got me this custom jersey for the show. They said that I was going to hit a home run, so they got me a baseball jersey, and that's what we did. So it was perfect, man.
Nice.
And hold on. Let's give some power to this sponsor. If I want to purchase a shirt like this, what website do I go to?
So right now they're not doing clothing. This was just a custom for the athlete. We'll talk to Carly about getting some stuff like this out. But you can go to mint45.com. We have all the Kratom products. So Kratom is an opioid mimicker that a lot of us bodybuilders are using now to just combat pain, also to work on focus. It's just an all-around tool that all of us have been using, and it's been an incredible thing for this prep, honestly. And they've just been also the best sponsor that we could ask for, you know, taking care of us athletes and making sure that we have everything we need and everything like that. So it's been awesome.
Very cool. We want to make sure we support all the sponsors. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to your sponsor for picking somebody who's making to the Olympia. Now, Martin Fitzwater, let's get down to business. This is your Olympia debut, okay? Sean Ray, who's one of the greatest bodybuilders of all times, did not have a great experience on his Olympia debut. He placed 13th, and he was in the diagonal.
Let me give you a little context, Martin, before you answer.
Okay.
It was actually one of my most memorable experiences. However, there was a lot of expectation coming off of my victory at the Nationals.
Okay.
I kind of stumbled out of the blocks because I was supposed to win the Night of Champions, and I wound up in 4th. However, I lost to the guy that I beat at the Nationals, Phil Hill. I lost to one of my idols in the form of Bob Paris, who I held in a very high self-esteem. It's partly why I wanted to be a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And I lost to the Black Prince, Robbie Robinson. So that was to get to the Olympia, because back then it was top 5.
Okay.
I was fourth. When I got to the Olympia, there was 24 of us. I landed in 13th. And I had a whole lot of excuses in terms of not being smart enough to shut down the guest posing tour. I was in college. I was young and naive to think that I could guest pose my way into the Mr. Olympia, whereas getting ready for the Nationals, I just eat, sleep, and train. Right. I don't think you're going to make the mistake I made, but getting 13th place in the 1988 Olympia, when you go back and look at that lineup,
right?
I mean, I had the best seat in the house, and I was still a fan. So I wasn't that, you know, I have to win type mentality as a rookie. Mm-hmm. And I just was there to absorb it all. Once I realized I wasn't going to win, I just went along for the ride. And in my mind, rather than it being a negative experience, I turned it into a learning experience. And I said, I will be back. Yeah, I will be back, and I will be prepared. And that was when I started my run of top 5 for 12 consecutive years, which is still a record. So I needed that experience of screwing up on the biggest stage to really appreciate the fact that it's lonely standing there and not having anybody to call you out on a comparison. Yeah. And to watch guys that I thought I should have beaten had I prepared. I never made that mistake again after the first one, but that was arguably my most memorable experience because I had a chance to be a fan. I mean, I was helping Gary Stridham and Lee Haney and Albert Beckles and Robbie Robinson, Samir Banu, Bob Harris. I was like at Disneyland. I was I didn't let the negativity have a chance to set in.
Hey, let's keep in context also. Sean was 22 years old.
Yeah. Right. You were just a kid. You were just a fan still. I mean, even now, man, I still feel like that. I'm still a big fan of a lot of these guys, you know, like Ian came backstage after prejudging and was like, bro, you look so awesome and stuff. And he was there for my pro debut. He won this pro when I did my pro debut with him. And so it's just kind of cool to have it come full circle and for him to like kind of, you know, give me that knuckle bump and to, you know, pass the torch and stuff like that. So I totally understand. I'll go into my first Olympia with this expectation. One, I want to get my best friend qualified. So we got to focus on Brett now and making sure that he gets qualified for the Olympia too, so that we can do it together. He didn't get a chance to do his debut last year, so it makes it that much more important for us to be able to do it together. I think that will be awesome, you know, to be there together and us training every day together. You know, it was more like that back in your day where you guys trained together and still, you know, still competed against each other and stuff. So Brett and I are an example of that where we're best friends and we train every day together, but we want to compete together at the Olympia, you know. So
now I just want to give a little bit of reference. Because in 1988, when Sean Ray competed at his first Mr. Olympia, Samir Banu, who was a Mr. Olympia, placed 8th. and Mohammed bin Aziza, who Sean Ray and I argue for the rest of our lives, placed 11th. on that
Yeah.
show. One of the greatest lineups ever. You know, a lot of people talk about 1999. 1988, you had Lee Haney, you had all the, you know, phenomenal athletes. But Martin, I want to hear from you. Now you're going to the Mr. Olympia, and I understand you have friends, they're all your friends, but you want to make money and you want to move up. If you place 16th, that can be a successful Mr. Olympia for you, right?
No, that wouldn't be a successful Olympia for me, man. No,
So,
I look. I'm going to do New York. I want to see where I stand next to these guys that are top 10 in the world. So that gives me a better expectation of what I can do at the Olympia, and it also gives my coach, my new coach, I'm working with Boss of Outlaw or Stefan, but he's Eurus' coach as well. It gives him another opportunity to peak me, learn my body more, and then have still plenty of time to shut things down and get healthy and then get ready for the Olympia. But that gives me some more time to improve on posing and composure on stage and just give me more stage time and stuff like that. And that'll give me a really good expectation on where I will land at the Olympia. You know, if I can maybe jump past Antonio there, and, you know, that gives me an expectation of like, okay, maybe I can crack that top 10 and fight for that. But this year's Olympia is going to be tougher than last year's, in my opinion. You know, there's going to be, it's going to be harder to make it. And there's a lot of tough guys coming. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah, it's good. Don't get too caught up in putting pressure on yourself. I knew going into the Olympia I was off. That's one thing Tarek forgot to tell you. As a rookie Olympian, I was going in knowing I was going to be served up to the Lions, right? Because I didn't have the time, didn't have the experience. But I went along with my role. I knew there were still some guys I could beat.
Yeah.
And some of the guys I beat Robbie Robinson. I beat Albert Beckles. You know, I beat the Gladiator, Rolf Mueller. I mean, there was some small victories in there that I walked away with that I went to the next Olympia, and I made a good run for the top 3, and I was in third. What you displayed on that stage was a very balanced, complete physique. Everybody says that we could always be harder. We could always have a little bit more detail here and there. For me, what I was looking at, the only thing I would have liked to see on you is a little bit bigger arms. That's both biceps and the triceps.
100%.
The detail comes with time and experience. Going to New York is a smart play because you know what? To get harder, to get more grainy, to get more detailed, you have to keep bringing that body fat down. You got to keep dieting down and competing over and over again to get that hard, grainy type look, and it will come. Sometimes the lighting doesn't work for you. I think on that stage with that black curtain that Bob loves, I loved it too. The lighting, it took me back to the Pro Ironman. It really highlighted your physique. There's not a whole lot different that you have to do except keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I think like you said, I think we have the right recipe. It's just a matter of tweaking little knobs and just keep refining things down. Like you said, you know, like we did the first time. This is the first time we've dieted together. This is the first time we've peaked together. So, you know, he already told me, he's like, I know how I can peak you better. I know how we can show up drier to prejudging and keep refining this look. And we'll be, you know, 5 to 7% better conditioning because we have 4 weeks to just keep letting this marinate and get better and better, you know, and get harder and harder. So it'll be exciting to see, man. I'm really excited to just progress, and I have nothing to lose. I already have my qualification and everything like that. So just go out there and have fun and put a big smile on.
But you mentioned Tonio, he's doing the New York Pro, and so is Nick Walker. But
Yes,
it
sir.
looks like you're focused on surpassing Tonio Burton. I was actually in Brazil, and Tonio mentioned your name to me. He wanted to do Detroit. You guys competed as amateurs, right?
No, so we didn't compete as amateurs. We actually competed at Legion Sports Festival when he did his first open show. I think
Reno,
yeah. So, and I think he got 4th and I got 5th. So we were like right there together. You know, just we've kind of come up the ranks together, and I think it would be a good little battle. But even then, like, I want to stand next to Nick. I think like my strong points, like pulling a vacuum and my sweepy quads, are kind of where he has some weak points. So I want to see where those shots line up, you know, even if I'm not winning them, I want to see what they look like next to him so that I can refine and get better at them to make them better than his.
Okay. But you're cool with Tonio. You guys are not clogging each other's toilets. You guys are cool.
I don't have any beef with anybody, man. I'm just running my own race over here.
All right. Sounds good. Because myself, Bob, and Sean, we don't like to create any controversy. But if there is one, we're happy to explore.
No, definitely not. Right now, man, like I said, I've spent the last year focusing in on myself and improving, and that's exactly what we did. I'm really happy with what we brought, and I know that we can just continue to improve from here. So like I said, like Sean said, you know, just keep letting this get better and better and bring a better package. That's what I really focused on, and collecting data for the Olympia, because we know that I want to peak better there as well, you know, so it's just another peak that we learn, and how much food I need and how much water we can get away with and everything like that, you know. So
I was really glad to hear that you're going to jump right back into the New York Pro, because you know what? Why take your foot off the gas? I mean, you weren't 100%, so there's still some percentage points you can improve on, and it may take all of those 4 weeks to get there. You only have one shot to nail it, and if you nail it in New York, that's progress. And then you have a very nice run up to the Olympia. I mean, from May to October, it's a good run to rest, fill out, and then do it all over again.
Exactly. No, exactly. That's exactly our thinking, you know, and we have plenty of time, and Brett's still not prepping yet, so we're not focused on him yet, so we can still keep just pushing me and focusing in on this and making me better. And like you said, you know, just focus on bringing a better package to New York so that we can collect the data and bring the best package we possibly can to the Olympia.
Well, the advice I give to rookie pros, really quick, the best advice I can give you is clearly the training is working and it's paying off. But all the judges are going to see you do is what when you step on stage? What are the judges going to see? They're going to watch you pose.
Yes, sir.
So keep making sure your posing practice is as much importance as the training. The training will take care of itself. You can do that in your sleep. Keep on nailing those poses. You'll get harder. You'll get grainy. You'll have more control, and you'll get, you know, the separation that you're looking for when you're on stage. If you put even more emphasis on the posing, because it looks like you know what you're doing, but just do a little bit more of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. No, I think that we can all do more posing. Yeah, Bob?
Martin, I think, first of all, I applaud the move of going to New York. I think it's a great move for you for a lot of reasons. You're right. You got nothing to lose. You're qualified. Put you up against some better talent. And if you can get ahead of any of these guys, I mean, it's just one more step up for you for the Olympia. You know, but there's a lost art here. You know, when me and Sean were competing way back in the day, especially in through the Olympia years, the guys competed much more often than what we're seeing today. Yeah. And what I don't like seeing is like these guys that they're missing opportunities, not just in competing and placing and trying to qualify, but in learning their bodies and getting this preparation down where it just becomes, you know, something that comes natural to you. Not everything is a giant 20-week experiment that's live or die on game day. And then the years go by. We're watching bodybuilders losing 5, 7, 10 years of their careers to sitting on the sidelines, and, you know, they competed 3 times in that time span. So I think it's a great move. I think you're right. It will learn your body a little bit better as you prep, and hopefully by the time you get to the O, you've got all the, you know, you can come in 100%. You've got everything to fix it. It's fixed, and that's it.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Like you said. And honestly, like that, my favorite era was the guys that went over and did the European tour and all that stuff. I really love that, man. Like I would honestly continue to compete more, but I want to be able to focus on Brett and help him get his qualification. Otherwise I'd probably maybe do like a few more like Cali and maybe try to sneak into a couple more, but
I'll tell you this, there is a fine line there. You don't want to do too many because it'll burn you out. And it sounds and looks good on paper, but I'll be the first one to tell you, when even years ago trying to turn pro, doing 3 national shows in a year was weights. By the time you get to number 3, you're done.
Absolutely. No, and I was just about to say, and the time span apart it starts to get long, So like
Yeah.
this is 4 weeks. If there was something in between here that was like 2 weeks and then 2 weeks again,
Sure.
I would definitely, I would have hopped into it because I would love to I love the process of peaking, watching my body change, watching this whole thing happen. Like it's absolutely awesome to me. And then now working with Stefan, like he's a mad scientist, so it's even cooler to watch. He's just been able to just manipulate my body, and like this was the first peak together, and we did a pretty jam up job. But I know that like he's only gonna do better at New York.
Hey, how much did you weigh in your competition?
I think we were about like 237, 238 on stage.
How tall are you?
5'7".
Yeah, you're carrying it well. You carry it very well.
Thank you very much.
He's got a small
you don't see guys
waist.
pulling off the vacuum anymore either.
Yeah, small waist.
I definitely tried to mimic your era, Sean. I love your guys' posing and stuff, man. The beauty and the art of pulling the vacuum and making your waist look small any way that you possibly can. I really love that, man.
Martin, I do have to say I am a little bit disappointed. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I have to bring it up. We don't have a lot of guys with hair, bro. What's up with shaving the head? Joining the Sean Ray Club. He's the one to start all that stuff years ago, by the way. With all due respect to Sergio Oliva. But
Flex shaved his head before I did. I just followed suit.
What's up, Martin? What's up with that, man? Come on.
Man, my hair is not good, bro. I got terrible hair genetics. It's funny. My pop, he was my dad was shaving his head at like 19. So I got the bad hair genetics, and my dad's been bald, so I knew at least I wouldn't be too ugly with a bald head. I went
peaking right on time, bro. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I honestly, like at first I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know if it works for me. But after seeing my stage shots and stuff, I'm like, you know what? I like it. I think it works. I like it.
Looks good.
Maybe I need to get some Sean Ray earrings to really.
There you go.
There we go.
Rock the earrings. Bring back the hoops, baby.
Just don't do the sunglasses. White guys can't get away with that.
Especially indoors.
I believe that.
Hey, Bob, remember we did a live with Stu, and you were going after because he had that crazy hair at New York Pro.
Got crazy hair, yeah. He's got the big hair.
Yeah,
listen, there's a happy meet somewhere between Martin and Stu is the answer right in there.
Oh, okay.
Martin,
you always had good hair, Bob. You
know what? It's pure genetics. Like there's nothing more. 2 or 4. You know what I mean? It's just pure genetics.
Yeah, lucky dog.
I have a question for Bob Cicherillo and Sean Ray. The fact that we have Derek Lunsford, Hadi Chupin as the top 2 contenders at the Mr. Olympia, both of them Mr. Olympias, the current one, Derek Lunsford. The fact that they were 212 guys, they have shorter stature, and they're the ones winning, right? Top 2. Does that benefit Martin because he's also, a shorter guy that can pack some muscle, has the small waist? Sean Ray, do you think that benefits him that the leading guys that are winning the Olympia, placing higher at the Olympia, have the prototype physique that Martin has?
Let's go back. You got to go way back. When I started, right, Chris Dickerson in 1982, Samir Banu in 1983. Before Chris Dickerson in 1981, it was Franco Colombo. So in 1984, when I'm graduating high school, here comes Lee Haney. And 4 years later, I arrive at the Mr. Olympia, and I'm standing there with Lee Haney, who's 5'11", 250 pounds. And it only went up from there. It went bigger. It went to Dorian Yates at 5'11", 270, 260, Ronnie Coleman, 290. You can't put any stock in how big the champion is. I mean, he can get there, and and you throw Andrew Jack into the mix. I think what the judges have done recently in my retirement is they made a very good opportunity for anyone to win the title. As you'll notice, if you go back over the past 7 or 8 years, we're talking about Brandon Curry. He's not the tallest guy on the block, maybe 5'7" on a good day. You're talking about Hani and Derek, and I just don't think the big man is favored like it was when I came up, because really, I mean, listen, we were talking about Samson. And we all thought Samson was going to be the next Mr. Olympia, and he still may. That's not out of the question.
Yeah.
But I think the judges are doing a very good job of giving everybody a very good look. And that title is slippery, bro. That title is only available to the guy that peaks on the day, and that guy can be 5'6", or that guy can be 5'10". So thinking about the other competitor right now in today's economy, I wouldn't even think about him. I'd be looking in the mirror at myself every day. I'm the guy to beat. I'm the one that's got to bring the perfect package and stand next to him, because that's all you want. You want an opportunity to stand next to him. If you can stand next to Hadi, you can stand next to Derek, you stand next to Samson. The judges have to decide, right? It's up to them. It's not up to you. You got to do your work. And it's a very good time to be 5'6", 5'7" in professional bodybuilding, especially at the Olympia level.
Right. Absolutely.
Bob, what's your opinion? Let me bring some more light to mine.
It's listen, Sean's exactly right. It don't matter whether you're 5'4" or 6'4". It's all in what you look like and what you present, and you have to be complete. Does it favor Martin that those guys are on the shorter side? Yes and no. The one thing that they have that Martin doesn't right now at this stage in his early career is thickness, and that's going to come with time in the gym. Martin, you made great strides this year, and that thickness was evidence on stage. That's why you won, because the guy standing next to you had a lot of muscle, but you were more refined, and you had, the shoulders were nice and full, the waist stayed nice and small, the thighs were big, and you brought that conditioning. But at the Olympia level, it's a little bit different up in there. But you got some big boys still that are out there. Listen, Big Rami's 5'11", Samson 6 foot tall. Andrew Jack is 6'2". Quentin, who's still making his way up the ranks, again, over 6 foot. So you got some big boys coming around. It just ebbs and flows. Sometimes you get more on the shorter side, and then you get a good big man in there, that could be trouble. Listen, Nick Walker obviously isn't tall, but he's thick, and he's muscular as anybody, and he comes in conditioning. So this will be a great meetup here at the New York Pro, because I'd love to see a Martin standing next to a Nick. Listen, anything can happen on game day. I mean, Nick has been very consistent in his career. However, anybody can come in off, and anything can happen on game day.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think like you just keep getting better. Like you said, I know that I can get my conditioning, keep refining it, and keep getting it better and better. 4 weeks is a lot of time to definitely get better. So I'm really excited to see what kind of conditioning we can bring.
Martin, the Detroit Pro was a first-time show, and a lot of people loved the background. And I looked at the pictures; they looked awesome. I want to congratulate Fuad, and also the prize money. You're $25,000 richer. Congratulate! What are you gonna do with that money?
I'm 27.5.
Oh, sorry.
I also won Best Poser.
All right,
my apologies. Are you trying to show off because all of us are poor middle-aged guys? Is that what?
No, I knew Sean would appreciate the Best Poser.
I like that. Yeah. Who presented the Best Poser award, by the way? Where did it come from?
So it was a Cedric McMillan award. Because of him passing away, and he was just such beautiful flow and stuff. So yeah, and it meant a lot to me because Cedric was there for my pro debut, and then at Legion as well. And he was just always so like loving and kind to me, and like I loved Cedric so much, man. He was awesome. So for me to get that award, like it meant the world to me. But yeah, no, man, that money's just going in the bank and going straight back into bodybuilding, man. This is my love and my passion, and this is what I care about. I don't need no fancy car. I don't need nothing like that. I just want to bodybuild, man, and just be the best bodybuilder I can possibly be.
Well, let's give some props out there where they're due. To Fuad and his team, congratulations. Great job. Listen, folks, it ain't easy putting on a pro show and an NPC show. And Fuad put a lot of money up here. The prize money was higher than most people on a first-time venture. He had some extras, like Martin's saying, $2,500 for a couple different awards, I'm told.
Three of them.
3 awards. So, I mean, listen, you got to give him credit. This is not something I can guarantee. I don't want to speak for Fuad or anybody on his team, but he did not go into this to make money. I can guarantee you that. He knew that he was going to be behind the 8 ball. And listen, it was worth it to him, for his company, for himself as a promoter, and for the IFBB Pro League to put on an Olympia qualifying event. So you got to give congratulations to these guys. Did an A1 job from everything I've told. We weren't there. Me and Sean were in FIBO overseas. So But congratulations. You got to appreciate that Fuad, he walked the walk and he put it out there. And to all other future promoters, that's the way you put on a pro show.
Yeah, no. And coming from behind the scenes, guys, like it was top to bottom, not just the show, not just like how it was ran, not just the background and everything, but like how us athletes were treated. I got in on Thursday. He asked me when I got in. From the second I got in, do you need anything? Do you need this? Do you need that? You need a ride somewhere? Do you need us to take you to the gym? We'll pay for this. We'll pay for that. We'll take care of you. Like, they were so awesome, man. Like, they made it the best experience, and they did a jam up job. Like, I have 1,000+ photos that are all incredible because the backdrop is insane. And every photographer that they hired to come in was an absolute jam up, absolute killer on behind the camera. And like, it's so cool, man. It was such an awesome experience. And you could feel how much Fuad and the team loved bodybuilding, man. It just bled through into the entire program.
Now, Martin, I have a question. There was a moment there at prejudging where Tyler called you guys, you and Vitaly Gudavito, to the center, and Vitaly came in and with his right elbow kind of rubbed it against you and took a step forward. And you kind of looked at him like, it's fine. What was going on in that moment? Did you feel like the Russian Gudavito was trying to intimidate you?
Yeah, man, I think they had watched how I'd competed in the past and saw that I'd been like a little bit ornerier on stage and thought that maybe they could get under my skin. And I just, I took the time off not only to be more composed and grow my physique, but also grow my mind, So like, I wasn't going to let anything like that knock me off my game. It was like, hey, look, you can go be silly and stand in the center like that, but like, it's you and we're getting compared. Like, stand on the line and let's do this. Let's get in our poses and let's see what the judges got for us. Let's run us through as many rounds as they want to run us through and give them a show.
Very nice. Yeah, I noticed that. And I said, I'm going to ask Martin what happened and how he felt about it. But you look to be very composed and calm on stage, which was quite impressive. I commend you for that. Even though you're a young guy, you sound very experienced. And now that you're bald, you even look more experienced.
Yeah, no, man. This is my 5th pro show. And something that it's just like shined through to me is like, I can just be overall composed as an athlete and just really like hold my ground and know what kind of athlete I am. And I knew that I'd come back, and even at finals, it was like, I knew that I was that much more crisp and that much more on. And it's about your physique. It's not about your attitude. It's not about who looks the toughest on stage and all this crap. Like, it's about beautiful posing, and it's about giving the fans a show. And I know some of that is just for the fans, like him rubbing my quad and that kind of stuff was like, it's for the fans, I get that. But at the same time, it's like, I was there to win the show. I wasn't there to bump elbows. I wasn't there to do anything like that. I was there to just hit my poses and look as composed as I can and put on a big smile for the crowd.
Martin, speaking of big smiles, was there anybody that you competed against in Detroit that resembled any dairy products?
No, man.
Come on, Derek. You gotta.
I'm politically correct.
For those a little slow on the roll, if you were watching.
No, I remember when he competed in Texas and he made mention to Andrew Jack. Is that what you're referring to?
Come on, guys. Talk about a slow crowd here.
I've grown up a lot since then, man. So, like I said, it's not like that anymore. I definitely just see myself as a bodybuilder that can win a show and go do well at the Olympia. I don't have any, vendettas or any, ill feelings or anything like that. And even if Vito would have won, he would have earned it, man. He's a great bodybuilder. His legs are freaking insane.
Yeah, he's got some muscle.
He's just got to get the upper body to match the lower body.
at the prejudging, for those that were, you want to hear a good comprehensive report, by the way. Big shout out to Tyler Mannion, our IFBB Pro League vice president. He's been putting out some great videos after shows, really giving a perspective of the head judge or any of the judges that are out there. Everybody's got their opinion, and he breaks it down pose by pose. He did a great breakdown of you and Good Vito together. And from everybody I talked to that was there, and even the video I saw, did you feel like you were behind at the prejudging, or it was really, really close? Or what was your own thought process to what you brought? He said notably you looked a lot sharper at night.
Yeah, so we went into prejudging with like Phil Heath fullness, knowing that they were going to pose us hard, and
Sure.
I was going to get harder into it, right? So honestly, I walked away from prejudging knowing that I was ahead, but I didn't know. I knew that it was close. Like I knew that it like
Sure.
pose for pose, he was winning some poses, and I was winning probably just a couple more because of the back shots, honestly. Just with my back thickness, I felt like I knew that I kind of had those shots in the bag.
Oh, yeah.
But besides that, I still knew it was close, and I knew that at finals we had to slam the door. So coach and I went back to the drawing board. We came back probably about 1.5 pounds tighter for finals, and it was just a way more crisper look. You know, it's like when you peak and you're so full that it's like almost hard to pose because everything is just like bursting at the seams. That's how I was at prejudging, and at finals we let it clean up enough that like my posing was just so much more crisp. My abdominal control was that much more evident that it like didn't even look like I was breathing. You know, it was the finer, smaller details that just when I really crisped up my physique, and if I go slightly on the edge of flat, I look better because I just get so much more detail in my physique.
Great. Well, guys, I want to mention here the videos. You can go on npcnewsonline.com, and Tyler gives a recap of the show that usually he is. And I recommend this not only for the pros, but I also recommend for the amateurs. You know, you learn a lot from these videos. You learn what the criteria really is. So go on NPC News Online. Just scroll down the first page on the bottom. You're going to see here the recap. And I think these are awesome. Our sport is growing. We have full transparency. And I think every competitor, not only the pros, but also the amateurs, should go there and listen to these recaps because it's very beneficial. Sean Ray, we're based on, and I know you don't like speculation, but we're here to make you lose followers and make enemies, which is not challenging for you. But where does Martin Fitzwater finish at the 2024 Mr. Olympia?
It's going to be tough, man, because we still have a crap ton of qualifiers still to go.
Yep.
I mean, this is just one guy qualifying. What do we got coming up next? Is New York next?
New York.
We got Texas. We got California. We got all kind of qualifiers coming up, and you got the guys that are already qualified. I mean, I don't want to lower the bar, but I mean, for me, if I'm qualified for Olympia, I mean, I want to be in the top 10, right?
Yep.
At the end of the day, my first Olympia, I want to be in the top 10. Unfortunately for me, it didn't work out, but my career worked out afterwards because I learned from that first experience, and I didn't accept the result of that first experience because I knew I screwed up on that first experience. Martin doesn't screw up on his first appearance. He might fare a whole lot better than Sean Ray ever did back in the day, but that lineup is going to be deep because we have a lot more people qualifying for the Olympia, and you've got some pretty good seasoned veterans, and we probably got a few guys, and don't sleep on this, Martin. There's a few guys that are going to be qualified that won't step on the stage.
Yeah.
We saw that with Nick Walker, the other Olympia, right? He's sitting in a wheelchair. Shit happens. So you got to train smarter, not harder, so you're not in that category.
Yeah.
But I would not be conceding anything to anyone because if you qualify, it means you deserve to be there. So that's where the fight begins, and it doesn't matter how many other people qualify. You got to just improve what you had. What you had in Detroit is not what you need in October in Las Vegas. You know that. I know that. So I think you're going to be a whole lot better by the time it comes, because you have to rise to the level of the event. There's a reason why in the NFL they play 18 games in a regular season before they even get to the Super Bowl. It's a process of elimination. So here you are going to New York. It's just another stepping stone before you get to grind it all out again for another 5 or 6 months before the Olympia comes around. You're qualified. You should be flying high with confidence right now, knowing that whether your friend qualifies or not, hey, that's going to be on him. When you stand on that stage, it's going to be you by yourself, and wherever make it easy for the judges to find you in that lineup, because 1, you trained your ass off, 2, you dieted harder than you ever did, and 3, you posed more than you've ever posed in your life. This is your Super Bowl.
Right.
So
100%.
this is the time where whatever you've been doing, you got to ramp everything up. Block out the noise and stand up there, because there's a lot of guys that are going to be there that have been there before that are basket cases on game day. They lose their shit. They forget what's going on. They forget how fresh it is your first time around. It's just they're going through the motions, and because they're comfortably in the top 6, they don't have to do extra. Do more than them, and you'll get rewarded regardless of the outcome.
Well,
so
as a
prediction.
reference,
I just know if you do your homework, you have just as good of anybody chance as anybody to be at least in the top 10 lineup.
As a reference here, Tonio placed 8th last year. He took 2nd in Brazil to Rafael, who made a lot of improvements from his 2022 debut, where he placed 10th. But Tonio and Martin can be considered, at the same level right now based on their results. So I think, and this is just my perception, but even though it's your pro debut, I think you should be shooting for a top 10. Do you agree with me, the voice of bodybuilding?
Absolutely. You should always shoot for a top 10. I mean, that's an easy answer. Now, the question becomes is who's viable and who's not, okay? As I'm just putting some notes down here. You got some guys that are going to be very difficult for Martin to beat at this stage in his career. Again, he's a young man. He's still putting on some muscle, refining a little bit. Derek Huddy, Samson, Nick, Brandon, Big Ramy, I believe he's going in this year, but let's just say he is. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 guys right there, okay? Now, you get into the group 2, we'll call it. Hunter, Andrew Jack, Tonio, Raphael. There's
Brandon
a few
Curry.
other guys in there. Martin
Brandon
can absolutely. Who's that, Sean?
Brandon Curry.
No, he put Brandon Curry in the first.
I had Brandon up in the top there.
Okay.
He can absolutely hang with those guys. I think that Martin's physique is better than Tonio's in terms of overall structure, thickness, muscle, the conditioning we've even seen thus far. If he improves any in New York, that's even better. So if Tonio can take 8, then certainly Martin can contend for 8th, 9th, 10th in that group. And let me tell you something, brother. If you can get in the top 10 in your first Olympia, you're doing pretty damn good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's not lowering the bar. It's just it's a matter of who you're up against, right?
Yeah. Bodybuilding's again at one of its peaks, man. We have a lot of amazing bodybuilders right now, bro. I know a top 10 would be a home run.
Keep in mind also, okay, there's a lot of great bodybuilders throughout history who've taken literally dead last in their first Olympia, like the Jay Cutlers and the Ronnie Colemans, and Saul was just giving you his first experience at 13th. He wasn't last certainly, but listen, the Olympia is the Olympia, man. That's why it's the greatest bodybuilding show on earth. But you can make huge strides and experience, obviously, by competing there. By again, you're a young man. You've got lots of training time and improvements to make. So just getting there alone is quite an achievement. And then working your way up the ladder. But no, there's no lowering the bar. The beauty of your first Olympia is that you can do absolutely no wrong. If you went in there hypothetically and took dead last, right? You go, hey, it was your first Olympia, man, right? So now this is the only pass that you get is the first time you're in. After that, we expect you to be moving up the ranks, Sean, right?
The first Olympia.
You heard what I said. Ronnie Coleman was dead last.
Exactly.
Dead last. Yeah, buddy.
Martin,
Helsinki,
the first
92.
Olympia, you get a break. On the second Olympia, if you don't place top 10, Sean, Bob, and myself, we block you on Instagram. We unfriend you on Facebook. We'll never talk to you again.
Okay. Okay.
They had they used to call in the old days the just happy to be there gang. You don't want to be in that group.
Yeah.
And you know what I used to get this, Martin. I'd come up to the guy that made improvements the following year and go, "You didn't want to talk to me last year." Of course, I didn't want to talk to you last year. You didn't do anything. So it's called prime time for a reason.
That's right.
You gotta earn your stripes.
Earn your stripes. Yeah. No, I get it. No, absolutely. I'll like I said, the reason I'm doing New York is just so that I can learn and improve and get better, and then take those notes, go back for 5 months, back to work, and improve. Hopefully I can come into the Olympia 2-3 pounds heavier than I was at these shows, and be in better condition and bring the same type of physique. So.
Well, listen, Martin. Listen, after the Olympia, Martin, if Tarek doesn't invite you back on Olympia TV, it's because you weren't in the top 10. Don't take it personally.
All right.
He just
Deal.
Some people ask me, well, when can I get an interview on Olympia TV with Sean Ray and Bob? I'm like, dude, this is for Olympia qualified athletes, for superstars, for legends. Nothing against you, but you still need to kind of move up a little bit. I'm going to make this real easy on you, Martin. If you make it top 10, I think that's a great victory. You make it top 10 and you beat Tonio Burton, that's an incredible moment. You make top 10 and you beat Andrew Jack, Bob Ciccariello will announce your name so sweet. You will not have chills on your back. You'll have chills all over. You will grow hair on stage.
And listen, no matter how you dice it, you're the best built man on Mars. So you got that going for you.
Take that, man. I'll take that for sure. So.
Now, are you guys being careful? Because I know Brett Wilkins, his intention is to absolutely destroy the weights, okay? He's like a Johnny Jackson type of lunatic at the gym. And I know you guys lift heavy. Are you guys being careful?
What does that even mean?
What careful? So I guess they're not being careful.
We're training our asses off, having fun.
Yeah.
But are you being cautious with injury?
No, absolutely. Honestly, man, Brett and I are very meticulous. We're very, rep calculated. We use a lot of tempo and stuff in our training so that nothing is willy nilly and crazy reps. But we definitely train hard and we definitely train heavy. But it's working, man. And most of the time, neither one of us are coming away with any injuries. We're always walking away from the training session healthy and ready to go, and we come back the next week ready to do it all over again and just consistently hammering days away. So
I love his initial answer, Bob. Are you being careful? What does that even mean? The most hardcore answer in the history of bodybuilding.
Listen, the train smarter, not harder, but past that, listen, man. As the young guy, again, this is the time to be doing that stuff when you can recover, when you're having fun, the joints don't hurt. Listen, Sean took 20 minutes just to get his socks on this morning. Trust me, this getting old stuff isn't great for old bodybuilders.
I believe that, man. I've spotted Branch enough times. I know what his elbows feel like.
Well, I will say this. I've given plenty of advices over the years when it comes to training, but there are certain movements that I do believe bodybuilders, like in your particular time frame right now, Martin, shouldn't be doing. I don't think once you built a base, let's just say in your 20s, how old are you, Martin?
I'm 27.
27, all right? So as you're getting your upper 20s into your early 30s, you don't need some of the basic core components anymore. This is where guys get hurt. You don't need the squat. You don't need the deadlift. You certainly don't need the bench press. Don't ever bench press, bro. Just take it right out if you're still doing it. Just everybody we know, me and Sean know a collective 1,372 guys in this industry over all our years. Every single one of them have torn a pec on the bench press.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, it's just training smart, but you don't need, once you have a base and a foundation, in your 30s, you should be refining the physique. Using Sean as an example as he's here, this is a guy who trained smart his entire career, trained hard, pushed heavyweight, but never challenged, world records because it's what you look like. Nobody cares how much you can lift. There's no bench press around.
Yeah. Not powerlifting is bodybuilding.
Yeah, I mean, but as you get past, into past the amateurs and into the pro ranks, this is all about refinement. That doesn't mean you train like a wuss. What it means is that you choose smarter exercise and things that are going to actually help you develop your physique. Like in your case, right? Listen, I would never be doing like a deadlift, let's just say, if I was you. I want to keep that waist small. I don't want a powerlifting body, blocky looking physique. By the same token, you want more arm refinement, or as Tyler gave critique, you want to get a little bit of size in those arms. That's all compound movements and just changing up the routines. It's not curling 400 pounds, that's for sure.
100%. No, honestly, man, in this time off, the most things I did was break things down, slow training down, and that's what improved my chest and arms. I've always been able to move a house. I was a college shot putter, so like they had me bench pressing over 500 pounds. I've been able to move weight my whole life. I've done the 200-pound dumbbells for sets of 12 and all sorts of crazy stuff. And backing off of that and really like just hammering my pecs by using machines and refining things and really honestly giving myself more of a Phil Heath type of training. It grew my arms and my chest exactly how I needed them to grow. So
let me tell you something. To your credit with that, the two spots that you beat Good Vito on that because he was very good and he had a lot of muscle, was in the chest striations, the separation, and in the back. So it seems to have served you well. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it very much. We're still doing hard and heavy stuff, but we're definitely cool, calculated, and definitely put both of our training minds together. And I think Brett and I are very smart and calculated with things.
And I think one of the advantages he had over Vitaly Gudovito, despite the fact that Vitaly looked incredible, was Martin has a small waist. When he hits that front double biceps, it looks very pretty. And Gudovito has a lot of mass, but the waist is not one of the smallest ones. So the illusion sometimes, benefits Martin Fitzwater. And I think there was a great competition between both of them. I think they'll be competing for years to come together. I think this is the new generation. Did you have a chance to talk to Vitaly to get to know him, or you guys just, competed and?
So he doesn't speak. He barely speaks English, only a few sentences. So we got to converse a little bit, but obviously it's a little bit hard. During the athlete meeting, it was kind of cool. Like we got to converse, and his trainer was kind of translating for us, but just he was telling me like, I love your physique and I love that you can pull the vacuum and it's going to be a good battle between us and stuff. And so it was cool to have that. And then backstage he was very very supportive and it was just a fun, like you could tell that he wanted the crowd to be into it and stuff. And so that's why he was like brushing my quad and that kind of stuff. And it was cool. Like you could tell that even though he didn't speak English, like he wanted to use body language and stuff to communicate.
That's great. The IFBB Pro League, the NPC, and the Olympia. We don't care about any of the politics in the world. We got Iranians, we got Russians, we got everybody in the Mr. Olympia. We should work for the United Nations, Bob. We would do a much better job than those guys.
Well, it's truly an international sport. It has been from day one, literally. I mean, we're celebrating 60 years of the Olympia this year, and it's literally a hodgepodge of people from around the world. When you look at the Olympia, from Larry Scott to, the origin of the Olympia in their first winner to, Sergio's the next winner from Cuba. Then you get into Arnold from Austria, and then you get into Franco from Italy, and it just goes on and on and on. We've had people from everywhere, every corner of the globe. So it is truly an international flavor, that's for sure. And me and Sean were just, like I see, we were out at the FIBO. Oh my God, talk about international. Fans are just insane. There's thousands of them all over the place, literally from every corner of the earth. So it was a good time, man. But you got to get out there, Martin.
Oh, that is a must. So, my coach, Stefan, was there. He did a speech and had a seminar and stuff with Uris. And he told me, he's like, next year we would love to get you over here and expand your fan base that way too. That's another reason why I want to compete in New York is like that. The more you compete, the more people see you, the more fans see you, like the more people love you. You know,
Yeah.
so that's important in this sport. You know, the more fans you have, the more T-shirts you sell, the more supplements you sell,
That's right.
the more
There you go.
everything.
It's a
you
business. It's called the business of bodybuilding, brother.
Sean Ray became a millionaire selling pictures all over the world.
That's
I
right.
give them away for free.
You're driving that sweet Lambo to the gym.
Back in the day, baby.
I've only watched those videos about 10 million times.
Selling the dream.
Actually, I don't know if you remember this, Sean, but you were a sponsor and you gave me my trophy at my first show. So,
What show was that?
yeah, it was the Colorado State Championships in 2017.
There you go. I was just gonna say I put on the Colorado Pro up there, and that was Phil Heath's first victory back in 06.
Yeah.
Bob was my MC up there, and you saw what he did with his career. You're in
Yeah,
the right group.
yeah, man. Yeah. No, it was pretty cool.
So going back, so 2017 was
17.
your debut in the National Physique Committee. You're an NPC competitor, 2017. Can you talk to us a little bit about your journey in the NPC?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So what actually made me decide to finally compete was I watched Phil Heath guest pose up in Wyoming about 4 weeks after the Olympia. So he just won 2016. He looked absolutely insane. He was probably 10 or 15 pounds up from the Olympia and just looked like they took a bicycle pump to every muscle. He looked so crazy. And I remember videoing him and sending him to my friends. And I said, I'm doing a bodybuilding show. I don't care. I'm going to do one this summer. And my college track coach retired, so I just said I'm done with college track and I'm gonna go be a bodybuilder. I'm gonna do this, chase this thing. So I got ready for a show that summer, and in 2017 I did the Colorado State Championships. I won the novice and the novice overall. I got second in the light heavyweights to a guy that went to nationals 2 weeks later and won his pro card. And so everybody in Colorado was kind of like, hey, kid, you're really good. I promise you, if you just take a little bit of time and you come back, you'll do well. So I took a year off and went and did another show that in Colorado, won my first overall, did junior national or junior USAs when Hunter Labrada won it. Because I met Jay Cutler on that spring break. And he was like, the rules are you do a junior national show, you win, then you can go do a national show, and you'll do well. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do junior USAs then. I want to compete against Hunter. So I went out there. I got second. And then we continued to prep. I did junior USAs, and I got fourth. And I just kind of ran my body into the ground in between the two. But we kind of found what was working for my physique. So that next year I came back and I did USAs, got fourth, did North Americans because that was a 2-day show, and came back to finals. And Steve was like, if you would have showed up like that, you would have won the whole damn show, kid. What did you do in between? And I just cleaned up 2 or 3 pounds, and I kind of spilled over before and looked really good the next day. So he was like, do North Americans. I did North Americans and got second. And then 2020 happened. And during COVID, I prepped that entire year until they gave us a show. And then I was like, as soon as you give us a show, I'm winning my pro card. So that's what happened. We won my pro card at North Americans. Both Nick and I won our pro card at the same time. And then I shut things down for a year and came and did the Texas Pro as my pro debut the first year that they had the Texas Pro.
Very
Martin,
cool.
Who's your favorite? Do you have a favorite of current pro? Somebody you look at and you go, man, now that's a physique. You know what I mean? Is it like a hottie? Is it a big guy like a Rami or a Samson or anybody that sticks out to you?
Somebody that's competing right now?
Yeah, sure.
I honestly love Derek and Hottie's physique both. I do. I think that they're both just beautiful physiques. The one that really still just is the physique to me that I just I would love to be is Phil. I love that physique so much. and it just brings so much to me because of the college athlete coming to bodybuilding when he was done with college sports, you know.
Let's give you since you're a big Phil fan, and we all are, of course, because Phil's tremendous. But all right, so Phil Heath at his best, Ronnie Coleman at his best, and Lee Haney at his best. Who wins?
I would take Phil, man.
Yeah.
But the difference.
No, Martin. This show is called Losing Followers, okay? We need to have all the Ronnie Coleman fans against you at this point.
Yeah, that's fine. But the only thing is I never got to see Ronnie's condition in person, and I know that, like, because I trained at Metroflex, right? Like, so I heard every single story, and like, for me, it's hard because like I've seen Phil in person. I watched it, and it was just like the most beautiful, flowing, like bursting at the seams roundness. But I know Ronnie was like so saran wrapped that like.
Ronnie was more like a freaking silverback gorilla. And if you've ever seen one of those suckers.
Right.
Listen, there was nothing beautiful about Ronnie. It was scary.
Sean Ray, same question to you.
So Ronnie,
same question. I want the same question to Sean. Phil, Ronnie,
listen, I stood next to Ronnie, so of course.
Well, you stood next to Lee Haney too.
Yeah, and I saw Phil Heath up close all the way through, but there's nothing like being in the presence of Ronnie when he was Ronnie. I watched Ronnie come from last place to first place from 92 to 98 when he won. But from 98 to about 2004, when you see what's humanly possible, it's a little bit different than looking at kind of the 3D version of Phil Heath. Right. And I think there's a lot of different versions of Phil Heath, but a lot of times you're only as good as the competition you're standing next to.
Right.
Granted, Phil Heath beat the guy that beat Ronnie, right? But when Ronnie was winning, he came from last place. So I saw what was humanly possible with that evolution, that transformation that you don't dream about happening. You have to go in the gym and make the shit happen. And to see Ronnie actually do it, it was.
I'm gonna agree with Martin Fitzwater. Martin, I'm gonna join you and have all the Ronnie Coleman fans against us. Okay, I saw the three-dimensional look of Phil Heath. And I saw Ronnie Coleman in 2003. I did not saw in person 1998, 1999. Now, bear in mind that Ronnie Coleman said his best physique was 1998 on an interview with me and Chris Cormier. So he prefers his 1998 version over his 2003. However, for the first time in history of bodybuilding, 2013, Phil Heath looked like a character. I mean, it was in the three-dimensional look was nothing we had ever seen. I think that was the greatest physique we've ever seen. If you're a Ronnie Coleman fan, please come after me. And
they will.
What about you, Bob? Why don't you lose
the only one that got the walk-off, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, all three. It's interesting because all three kind of have their rightful place. I mean, it's always hard to compare eras. We do it for fun, right? But Phil is the most complete Mr. Olympia ever. Circa 2013, 11, 12, or 13. You could pick one, literally. Yeah. You could argue that all day long that nobody but a more complete physique ever in the history of bodybuilding than Phil Heath in that era. Biggest freak, and I mean, like Sean says, I agree. 98 and what was it, Sean? The 01 Arnold that he did, unbelievable. I mean, when they say unbelievable, you looked at Ronnie in awe that anybody could be that big and that cut and ripped. But the most dominant Mr. Olympia for any era, you got to give it to Lee Haney because Lee Haney went eight straight and retired and said, "Thank you, good night, everybody." And you got to
remember that because
Bob, nobody was ever really close.
I quantified my statements by saying, you're only as good as the guys you're standing next to.
True.
And I say that because Ronnie Coleman was standing next to a bunch of Hall of Famers, whereas Phil was not. Phil was not, and neither was Lee Haney, by the way. But throughout Ronnie's reign, he had to jump frog over Kevin Levrone and Flex Wheeler and Vince Taylor and there's a lot of guys that Ronnie Coleman had to go over.
There's a great. There you go. But but see, that's Ronnie 2003. That's not even fair. That's not the best Ronnie.
No.
No,
Yeah, but
if you're gonna pick a run, you got to pick 98 or 90.
Yeah, you got to go 98 next to Phil's 2013. I guess if we're going to use that as his best, but these guys are just amazing, honestly. Just
It's hard to compare
Yeah.
eras, man. It's like comparing Michael Jordan and LeBron. It's hard to compare those eras. Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali. You can't do it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to do this topic. I'm going to do this topic on Prime Time Muscle, the best show in bodybuilding. I want you to subscribe to Olympia TV. If you don't, your life is going to be miserable. Tomorrow, coming out on Olympia TV Prime Time Muscle, we have an interview with Chris Bumstead. The inside information about how many titles he intends on winning. That's coming out tomorrow with Tim Wilkins and a bodybuilder by the name of Chris Cormier. If you don't know, just Google him. I want to finish this with you, Martin. I'll give you the final word. A lot of NPC competitors look at you and say, this guy is a young guy. He persevered and he's in the Olympia stage. What do you have to say about the young NPC competitor like you were when you were watching Phil Heath guest posing? I'm sure there were a bunch of kids in Detroit watching you guest pose and saying, man, I want to be a bodybuilder like Martin Fitzwater. What's your message to all the amateurs that one day want to follow your footsteps?
Fall in love with the process, man. Like these guys said, this thing takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of refinement. So fall in love with the process, really learn and soak it all in. It's a journey, it's a marathon, not a sprint like everybody says, but really truly take that in. Taking this time off for me was huge for me. It let me soak in the moment a lot and kind of realize like how lucky and privileged I am to be doing this for my living and my, what I get to do for a job. Like, I love this sport so much, and it's definitely changed my life. Like, I have no idea what I would do if I wasn't a bodybuilder. So, just fall in love with the process and then surround yourself with great people. The best thing that I ever did was get, Brett in my corner and have a good training partner and the right people with me. Now my coach, Stefan, that's been an awesome process too. Just getting the right corner and the right people with you will make bodybuilding so much fun. And that's the journey is the best part of this whole thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Fitzwater, this young stud, is heading to the Mr. Olympia. He won the Detroit Pro, huge battle with Vitaly Gudovito. He prevailed, and he'll be on stage being announced by the legend himself, Bob Cicherillo. I want to thank my co-hosts, the voice of bodybuilding, the 2000 Mr. USA's. He's the master of ceremony for the Mr. Olympia, master of ceremony for the Arnold Classic. He's sponsored by Celsius. Do you want to plug in Celsius?
Oh, listen, you can't beat these guys. Cheap plug for my peoples over at Celsius, but they kept me all weekend long overseas. How, you ask, Tarek? Well, they've got powder forms now that you can actually take with you on the road. How about that?
Very cool. I also want to thank the legend himself, 1987 national champion, Arnold Classic champion, Ironman champion, Sean Ray. Do you want to plug Mutant?
There, he can plug Mutant. Look at, here we go, right there.
Hi, so sir.
Can you hear us, Sean?
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Sorry, Bob. Can you hear me now?
I got you. Look at that.
Yeah,
I got
every
you.
other word.
There we go. Who's that? Who's that guy?
There you go.
So I want to thank Sean Ray, Arnold Classic champion, Ironman champion, and 1987 champion for joining us. Thank you so much, Sean.
All right. Congratulations, Martin.
Congratulations, Martin. Sorry we gave you a little bit of hard time, but it's just so you get used to it, okay?
Love it, boys. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.